Alright, I'm going to talk real quick about springs and adjusting the springs. The basic setups, almost all of them, they start off with this right here, 450 for the fronts, 500 for left rear, 750 for the right rear. Which, I guess that's a good starting point, not really good ending point, in my opinion. There's many ways you can adjust this. One thing is the left rear and right rear is going to be easier to adjust than your left front and right front because of the fact that you're using the bump stops on the front, so it's kind of opposite. But when I'm adjusting, I'll just walk through what each one will do. So I'll start off with the right rear. One of the things that adjusting this will do is it will really affect your turn from the center off, like your free roll, I guess is what I call it. And it really affects late exit. If you go down on this right rear spring, what it's going to do is it's really going to tighten you up on exit. My goal is usually to get up to somewhere right around 1,000, because what that's going to do is it's going to let the car, when you let off the gas, it's going to create a big rear spring split, and it's basically going to be driving off the right rear. When you hit that gas, it's going to not really allow that car to roll over on that right rear, and it's going to be it's going to turn a lot better. It's going to kind of turn on demand, I guess is what I'd say. For my team, it's not uncommon to be up around 1,200, 1,300, even 1,400 pounds on the right rear spring. Just depends. But usually I'll use that mostly for center off when you're starting to pick up the gas. For the left rear, I'll use that for early entry and for late exit. You can go positive on the left rear, maybe 25, 50 pounds if you need it to turn in just a little bit better. But on the other hand, it's also going to tighten you up a little bit on exit because you're not going to have that big rear spring split. Or you can drop it down. It's going to tighten you up just a little bit getting in, not a lot, but it's gonna allow the car to rotate better in the center, and it's going to be looser coming off. So the rear springs are pretty easy to work with. They're pretty straightforward, but with the fronts is where it kind of gets tricky. On a traditional setup, say if you have like 1,400 pound springs in the front, then a stiffer left front spring would make the car turn better, or a softer right front spring would make the car turn better. But this season, now that we're using the bump stops and you're using soft springs, it's the opposite, but there is a sweet spot for it. So basically, with them at 450, they're riding the bump stops pretty much. So what you can do is if you go down to say 400, what it's going to do is it's going to hit that left front bump stop earlier than it was before, and what it's going to do is it's going to act like a stiffer spring, and it's going to rotate much better through the center of the corner and turn a lot better center off. And same with the right front, you're going to do the opposite, so it's going to be, you put a bigger right front spring in it, it's not going to hit that bump stop as early. It's going to make it, it's going to give it more travel basically, and it's going to make the car turn better throughout the corner, especially in the center. Like late entry, early center, that's where you're going to feel the biggest impact. We really don't make big adjustments on the right front or left rear. We tend to stay close to 450 to 500 on the right front and close to around 500 on the left rear. Biggest place that we make our changes is dropping that left front and raising that right rear, and making the car turn through the center of the corner a lot better. Those are some pretty basic things. There's other things that you can do, but that's usually to the extent of how far we really go in depth with our springs. If you need it turned better from center off, put a softer left front, stiffer right rear, softer left rear, or stiffer right front. And then for like entry and turn in, you can adjust that left rear spring a little bit. You make it a little bit stiffer, and then use the other springs to kind of compensate for it. But that's pretty much the basics as far as springs go.